Good evening. How are we all feeling? Great. So thank you for coming today. We're really excited to have Benjamin in the house today. He's going to be speaking about his experience with fintech, scaling a fintech business. What are the do's and don'ts that you should have anytime you're doing that?
I'm happy you guys came out, and I really appreciate you guys taking your time on a Friday night to be here. If there's any way I could be helpful, I would love to answer as many questions as possible today and make this as interactive with all of you. I just want to know why people came. Why did you come today? I'm just curious.
I've been following your story, so I just wanted to meet you and to hear it from you one-on-one.
What do you do for work?
I'm a designer.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. How about you? Why'd you come today?
I am Fintech, do compliance and legal, so I really wanted to meet you. I was able to get through your story last week, and for me it was really intriguing, and I wanted to come and meet you personally.
When I first moved back in June 2017 to Tanzania, I spent the next 2.5 months just doing interviews, going to talk to different customers, different segments of people, and I would ask them many different things about like their behaviors. Because everybody says when you're starting a company, oh, you have to have the perfect plan, you have to have enough money, you have to have enough experience. To be honest, like your whole plan is going to get wiped out when you just start. So it doesn't matter. There's no, I've never written a business plan in my life, but like I think business is solving a problem, and you're with a medium of exchange is given to you when that problem is solved, which is what money is. So the way I started to look at things was spend a lot of time doing user interviews in person. So I'd go to different areas around Dar es Salaam, interviewing people in person and ask them about their financial spend behavior, what would they do, what were some of the challenges they're facing with financial services like mobile money. And from there, what I'd learn is patterns, right? So you'd identify patterns. Okay, for example, this age group really want this age group really want this, university students really want this. And then you start to segment those people and groups and then really try to hone in on the problem. When you're building a tech company, I think it's really foundationally important that you fall in love with the problem and then look at the solution, because I don't believe in ideas. I think ideas don't matter. I had applied 6 times to Y Combinator. 6 times. Got rejected 5 times, went for interviews 4 times. Okay? Most people would see Nala as like, this guy, but I had been trying to apply for YC for many, many years to just try to get in. And every time, rejected. As a founder, as you're starting a tech company, if you aren't ready to be rejected, you shouldn't be a founder. If you want a friend, get a dog, to be honest. Because you have to have really thick skin, right, when you're starting a company. Really, really thick skin. You'll be let down, you'll be rejected many, many times over and over again, and it's not easy. It takes a lot of pains to be a founder. And so we kept getting rejected, and finally, because we had a lot of traction, we got into Y Combinator. And when we got into Y Combinator, Michael Siebel, one of the directors of the program, had come up to us and said, hey, look, out of all the companies in the program history, you had spent the least amount of money and had the most traction. When we got into the program, they're like, how did you guys get this much transaction volume within this time period with only this much spent? They were even surprised by that. And one of the things that we really focused on was our customer base. So all of our early customers, I had built a personal relationship with on WhatsApp. So when I'd interview somebody, I'd be like, okay, Irene, Edgar, Rachel, whoever, and I'd get their personal phone number. And as we were building stuff, I'd WhatsApp it to them, like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? And when they felt that they were part of the building journey, they wanted to support Nala. So when we went live, finally, it felt like they had built a baby with me together, right? And so I'm like, oh, finally, can you test this out? So what happens is the loyalty increases massively because you've built trust over time, by commitment to that person that you're asking for feedback to over time. And when you build that trust with that person, what's going to happen next? When they try to use the product, they'll give you some more feedback. Okay, this sucks, that sucks, this sucks, that sucks. But as you improve it, you build more and more loyalty to that individual. Now, if I pull out my phone today and I go to my contacts on my device right now, and I just type in Nala, N-A-L-A, you can see, what does this say? You read it out loud. What does this say?
Fred Nala. Grace Nala UG user.
This one?
Nasri over Nala user.
This one? So anyway, I have over 600 of our customers saved in my phone, personal relationship with me as the CEO of the company, right? So what happens is they start to build loyalty and trust to you as a founder and as a brand. And so people would be super loyal to us because they knew they had access to Benji, you know, and there's a special feeling because people will go to bat for you when they feel like you're on their side. When I started to get these founders, what would start to happen was, I didn't realize, but when you get founders, you start to open up their investors. You know why? Because now they need you to succeed. All of a sudden, I'd built this network of trust with founders who wanted me to succeed, right? Most of them would never make any introductions for me, which was fine, because they also didn't really know me like that. But when I meet their largest investor, I'd cold email a lot of people, by the way. I'd just cold email investors, just try to meet them. When I meet their largest investor, and I say like, hi, Irene, by the way, David, who you invested 50 million in 2 years ago, is also investing in Nala. What happens to Irene? What? Somebody said it. Trust. Trust. Irene starts to trust me because she gave David 50 million. She trusts David that much to offer him $50 million, right? So all of a sudden, by sense of trust and leverage, Irene is gonna be more interested in trusting me potentially because she trusts David. Anyway, so during that journey, when we were pivoting, right before the pivot, I had met Nico, my CTO. When I was looking for a CTO, because remember I told you I didn't have a CTO for like a year and a half. I just had like an engineering lead on our team. That was really hard. I really don't recommend not having a CTO at a tech company at all. It's horrible. It's horrible. Even if you start with an engineering lead or something, or somebody who's a software engineer, but like you need to get somebody who's got, especially if you want to be world class, somebody who's got a lot of experience that can bring them to the table and can really help you win. But a few lessons I hope you take away from there. One is customers, right? Focus on your customers. That's the most important thing that matters, because you have to build something that people need. And when they need it, they're willing to pay for it. When they're willing to pay for it, you have a business there. The second one, learn from other people. Learn from people who are the best in the game at doing what you're doing today. Who's the best at your business in whatever country they are? Build a relationship with them, which is my third point. Relationship building, especially if you're the CEO of the company, never ends. It's a journey and it's a job that you are responsible for. You have to chase, you have to chase, you have to chase. I email a lot of my CEO friends very often. Sometimes they never respond to me, but I keep chasing because I recognize they're very busy people. And I keep chasing, but they'll finally get on a call with me. Building a relationship is super important, because what happens over time is all those things are linked together. And then when you go to fundraise, you have significant leverage there. Finally, keep things cheap, right? As cheap as possible for as long as possible. This is our first time after 4 years having an office. We have an office that we opened last night here in Nairobi. First time in 4 years, we never had an office. We're all working remotely. And it was a big step for us as a company, because it was a special moment for me, because like I also didn't, when you picture it, like look back, there's a lot of work that you had to put in, but the progress to where we are today, I don't think we're successful yet, but we're on the right journey to get there. And we've got a lot of work to do in order to get there. And so, yeah, I want to pause right there to see if you guys have any questions, but thank you so much, yeah? Asante.
How do you conduct your, how do you source for employees in your company such that you ensure that you have the right employees who are going to come and bring resourceful input for the company?
To date, we've been using inbound a lot, so we try to be as open and honest about what the roles are that we've got, what the key information is, and what it is that we're really looking for. What we've kind of learned over the last 6 months when we open roles out is that we get a lot of applications. I think when we first opened up our customer support role, within a day we would get 500 applications, and within a week we would get 2,500 applications. My team is only 3 people big, and it's quite difficult. So what we've now done is decided to pivot to a more outbound strategy. There are 2 types of roles that we have here in Nala. The kind of roles where we really need people to sort of do a thing and do it in an amazing way. For these ones, we want to make sure, so for example, customer support would be one of those. For these ones, we've decided to sort of really engage people in a more personal way. So we've decided to take away the application because it's so easy to click easy apply on LinkedIn. We want people to actually message us and tell us why they want to sort of work here, because the people who are really motivated by our mission are going to be the greatest people to do that job. The second type of role that we have is it's a really hard role to fill. It's that first person in a department. Now, let's say like legal and compliance, hiring for that first person in legal and compliance, there are lots of people who've worked in legal or compliance or both or yeah. However, it really takes a different kind of mentality to sort of like be that first person. Benji always says, you sort of start with generalists and then you sort of scale with specialists, and it's very much that start with generalists. They need to be able to do their craft, but they also need to be able to work in that startup, high-performance environment. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I do have a diary, I do keep my diary, but I rarely know what's going to, there could be anything that happens on a day-to-day basis. So for those, we try to use a more outbound search approach. Benji mentioned Monzo. Right now we're looking for our first product manager. One of the strategies we take is that when did Monzo have their high scale growth period? It was between 2017 and 2018 when they were doing their crowdfunding round. I think they were oversubscribed by 2,000% at that point. That is when the Monzo product managers realized and unlocked how to do it, and those are the people that we want. So yeah, very much two different types of roles. The roles where we need lots of them, and roles where we're looking for that top one. So yeah.
My name is Flavian. I work in the real estate
Your name is?
company. Flavian.
Vivian. Okay.
Flavian.
Uh-huh.
I work in real estate.
Nice.
So I'm interested in fintech simply because I'm interested in helping people rent to buy in the future. So I would like your opinion on what do you think on incorporation of two fintech companies in the success of that real estate venture, in that, say, people like Nala to help us with international clients. Yeah.
So let's say international clients, meaning like a Kenyan diaspora living in the UK to buy property, rent to buy property in Kenya. Yeah, I mean, for example, one of the things we're trying to do for Nala for Business, we're launching Nala for Business next month, is to work with businesses exactly to do a few things like this, because those would be larger transactions and enabling them to purchase. Because people come up to us, many companies these apartments that are always for sale in Kenya, buy it and sell it as your Airbnb, whatever. So they'll come and do roadshows in England, they'll come and do roadshows in the UK, in the US. My suggestion would be starting with those doing roadshows, to be honest, right? And saying hey, and then my second suggestion is who's doing this and killing it in whatever country, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, in Africa or whatever, in Asia, in America, in UK or Europe, and try to speak to those people, because you're going to learn a lot from that experience.
What's your end game? Do you see yourself listing? Do you see yourself selling out, or a buyout, acquisition, something like that? And if you're listing, where would you list?
To be honest, right now we're really focused on solving problems for customers, right? If we list, I would like us to list. That's where we want to go, right? I think we have the ability to do it as a team. We're really focused on trying to get there. We need to bring on a lot more people on the organization to try to get there, but I think we can. And New York Stock Exchange would be, or NASDAQ would be most ideal. Sorry, not Nairobi Stock Exchange. People in Dar is come list on the Dar Stock Exchange. I'm I'm good. But so that would be if and when that happens, that'd be a great outcome for everybody.